A very beautiful morning to you. Welcome this morning once again. Today, the 31st day in the month of December 2025. Safe to say that we thank God. We thank God for how far He has brought us. We thank God for His mercies over us from the first day of the year up till this very moment. This is the final episode of Perspectives Unlimited for the year 2025. So, yes, first off, thank you so much to everyone who has always tuned in, called in to drop your opinions or your perspectives about the different newspaper items that we've picked for the year 2025. We thank you for being our ardent listener and for always showing up at every point in time. And this, like I said, is the final episode for the year. We thank God for how far He has brought us. And special thanks also to every analyst that has graced our studio for Perspective Unlimited for this year. Welcome. It is another time to talk about issues that concern us as Nigerians. As we delve into the dailies this morning on Perspectives Unlimited to check out some of the stories across our various national dailies and a bit to keep you abreast about happenings. And of course, you get to share your own opinions about whatever news item that we'll be taking a look at on the show this morning together with the analyst in the studio for this morning. We will be, checking out various national dailies. Good morning once again and welcome. My name is Toluwaleke Alli. And you can watch us live on Facebook this morning. We're live on Facebook at Wells Radio 893 FM fan page. At Wells Radio 893 FM fan page. So first off, let's go on to check the front pages across some of our national dailies this morning. Beginning with the Guardian newspaper for this morning, PDP shrinks in Oyo as Aborisade leads supporters to ADC. That's on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. NICOM insists on July 30 recapitalization, rules out extension. The story is also on page 3. FRSC reiterates caution as British envoy governors visit Joshua at Lagos Hospital, and that story is on page 7. The lead story on the front page of the Guardian newspaper for this morning: cooking gas. Over 20 million households stick to firewood, charcoal over affordability. And there's a breakdown, of Nigeria's clean cooking crisis. 20 million plus households still rely on firewood and charcoal. 1.5 million households switched to LPG in 10 years, and some now reverting. LPG use, we have 250,000 megatons as of 2014, and now 1.5 million MT as of 2024, and a lot of breakdown when it comes to clean cooking crisis here in Nigeria. To read more on that story, check out page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Ganduje anticipates Yusuf's defection as Kwakwaso rallies lawmakers. And that's on page 30. Tinubu ignores suspension calls, insists new tax laws take off tomorrow. And that's on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper for this morning. Court remands Malami son over money laundering charges. That's on page 5. Still on page 5, will fix Rivers' leadership mistake in 2027. Wike declares. And also on that same page, 2027, we won't accept excuses of glitches, Bode George tells INEC boss. 12 trillion naira 2026 debts may tighten liquidity in private sector. CBN warns. And that's on page 15. Those are the stories on the front page of the Guardian newspaper for this morning. Moving on to the Daily Trust newspaper now. President Tinubu's 2025 unfulfilled promises. That's on page 5. 22 die, several others injured in Jigawa road crashes. And to read more on that story, check out page 8 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Amid uproar, Tinubu declares tax laws effective January 1. The story begins on the front page and continues on pages 3 and 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. 7 trillion naira NNPCL debt waiver draws flag. That's on page 6. Ward Exco's expel Kano NNPP chair. That's on page 15. Money laundering, Malami, son, remanded in Kuje prison. That's on page 24 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Mob attacks Kano NSCDC outpost, lynches 3 suspects. That's on page 24. Moving on now to the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Above the masthead, how APC's tsunami reshaped Nigeria's geopolitical map in 2025. How APC's tsunami reshaped Nigeria's geopolitical map in 2025. That's pages 17 to 20 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Federal government denies plot to target opposition figures. And Tazi Rider dismisses ADP for VIP document as fake. And that's on page 2. Alleged money laundering. Court orders remand of Malami, son in Kuje prison till January 2. And that's on page 4 with a picture of the former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, are being arraigned by the EFCC, also right there on the front page. New tax laws take off January 1, Tinubu says. And there's a quote from that story. No substantial issue has been established that warrants a disruption of the reform process. Absolute trust is built over time through making the right decisions, not through premature reactive measures. And the story is on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper for this morning. CBN projects 4.49% GDP growth in 2026. And that story is on page 5. Air offensive overwhelming bandits in Zamfara. And Tazi Rider military, that's according to a military source. And Tazi Rider Amotekun arrests 39 suspects in Ondo Forest. And the story can be found on pages 2 and 3 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Finally, on the front page of the Punch newspaper for this morning, above the masthead, 2026 budgets, 10 states plan 4.3 trillion naira borrowing. And that's on page 31. Forex reserves to hit $51 billion by 2026. That's according to CBN, and it's on page 33. Military arrests suicide bomber, recovers 189 AK-47 rifles. That's on page 14 of the Punch newspaper for this morning. Fatal crash. Family demands access to Joshua as FRSC awaits probe report. And that's on page 14. The lead story on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Attrition row. Tinubu insists on January 1 for new tax regime. And it has a rider. President says no turning back on reforms. Atiku, PDP, slam tax legislation. And the story is on page 2. Alleged money laundering. Ex-AGF Malami, wife, son to spend New Year in prison. And stories on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. Rivers lawmakers reject Fubara's Christmas gift. Wike opposes automatic ticket. And that's on page 30. Lagos Plaza death toll hits 5 as fire raises another market. That's on pages 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. And the final story on the front page of the Punch newspaper. PDP sues INEC over candidates' exclusion from Ekiti poll. And that's on page 14. And those are the stories across some of the front pages of our national dailies this morning. All right, joining me in the studio this morning is our analyst, Chukwemeka Munachi. So good morning, Chukwemeka.
Good morning, Tolu.
All right, let's begin with the story that cuts across our various national dailies this morning. But I'll be reading from the Vanguard newspaper. New tax laws take effect tomorrow, Tinubu insists. President Bola Tinubu has said that the new tax laws, including those that took effect on June 26, 2025, and the remaining acts scheduled to commence on January 1, 2026, will be implemented as planned. This came as the People's Democratic Party, PDP, renewed its call for the suspension of the commencement date of the new tax act, citing discrepancies between the harmonized version passed by the National Assembly and the version later gazetted, which it said have raised serious public concern nationwide. The president said all the concerns raised have been noted, but added that no substantial issue has been established that should warrant a disruption of the reform process. It said this in a statement that was released. They said the new tax laws, including those that took effect on June 26, 2025, and the remaining acts scheduled to commence on January 1, 2026, will continue as planned. But in a statement by the PDP through its National Publicity Secretary, Ine Ememobong, it said that Nigerians across all walks of life have loudly voiced their displeasure over the smuggling in of very dangerous provisions which were expunged earlier by the parliament. And, this is coming as, again, the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association also endorsed the January 1 commencement date for the implementation of the tax laws. But despite the fact that there are some that are also siding with the president to say, let it commence on the 1st of January, there's still lots of concerns by civil society organizations as well as the opposition about whether or not this should commence. But the president has spoken.
Yeah, the president has spoken. And he is insisting that the tax laws will take effect beginning from tomorrow. You see, Tolu, what we are looking at is a lack of robust engagement of the opposition with the ruling party. If we are practicing democracy where there is an element of credibility and transparency, and we are willing to move the nation forward, there is need for citizen participation in whatever that will definitely impact on them, whether negatively or positively, before actions are taken. We are not in a dictatorial regime. We are in democracy, and democracy is about the people. And when people are abrogated in what has to do with them, then it becomes something else. Now, we have walked this route before when we did oil subsidy removal without thinking about the consequences, and we know the aftermath of that hasty removal and that triumphant statement made by the president at the inception of this administration. And we have also heard about food importation sometime within the year. We have heard about national youth and mother tongue policy and all over, and we went back on those things. And this tax thing is looking like it again. That in the middle of the game, we are still going to go back to where we started from. Why not we sit down and critically look at the key issues that the people have raised? And I want to tell you, Tolu, that I've gone through some of those things. And the insertions which actually raised the furor is about powers of arrest for tax officials. These are the things the House is screaming against. Powers of arrest, and another one is a property seizure without court order. How does that make the tax as regime people friendly? When you have empowered people to seize properties without court order, and also people look at this as an executive overreach, and an affront against the Constitution or against 1999 Constitution, because it is not in tandem with what the 1999 Constitution is saying. That's why people are describing this tax something as an executive overreach, because when you empower people, when you empower tax officials to arrest individuals, and also there is a provision for seizure of property without court order. Where is it done in democracy? Are we in a military regime? These are the insertions these people are crying about, but people don't know. All we are telling us that if you are earning below 800,000 naira a year, you are tax exempt. Who cares about that ones? But the nitty gritty of what is in that tax something are some of these things that I've read out to you. Some of them, not all, because there are so many landmines embedded in it. That's why people are saying, why not suspend this thing now and let us have a holistic look at this tax reform, so that at the end of the day, everybody will be on the same page. And I keep advocating the fact that we are Nigerians and these things are meant for us. Why not do this thing in indigenous languages so that they will spread it? And the market woman in Dubai, the one in Ochanja market in Onitsha, and the one in Plateau or Kanu or Sokoto will understand exactly what you are saying, because you are the leader. You are the one ruling. You have to carry them along. I remember in those days where government will come out under, God bless this man, Jerry Gana, Professor Jerry Gana, when he was the MAMSA chairman. What he did, most of those things government were to bring out to the people, they translated them in indigenous languages. And Nigerians understood what exactly government was saying. You are not running a government for your family. You are running for over 200 million people, and they must know what where you are taking them to. You can't carry me along if I don't ask where are you taking me to, and I see the blueprint of where you are taking me to, and I agree with you. So that is where I am saying that National Orientation Agency is a failure. All they propagate about is what government. Why can't they go come down to the because they are for the people. They are to interpret government to the people. Not people looking at, because Nigerians are confused. Go to the street and ask questions. What exactly? They don't even know anything. Even budgeting, Nigerians is supposed to be in our local languages, so that people will know that this is what the government is about to do for us. That is the way it should go. But insisting on taking off tomorrow, well, whatever comes out of it, I don't know how Nigerians are going to react. But I just pray that we will not go the way of Kenya. Because, it was all this tax something that brought about the brouhaha in Kenya. That's just my fear. But if people are carried along, if you are doing something for the people and they don't know what you are doing, there's no way they will trust you. They can't, because they don't know you are speaking over their head. So that's where I stand. So if I am the president of this country, I will go back to the drawing board. Let us sit down. Because there's nothing like, oh, we are doing this in agreement. You will even go further. If you are working in agreement, the good book said, can two work together unless they have an agreement? And he said, if two or three of you shall agree on anything, that is the thing. But have we agreed? Is a staccato. Is the Tower of Babel over an issue that concerns all of us.
All right, let's move on to other stories. This is the Punch newspaper. 10 states plan 4.3 trillion naira borrowing to fund 2026 budgets. 10 states are planning to source about 4.287 trillion naira from loans, bonds, grants, capital receipts, and public-private partnerships to finance capital projects in their 2026 budget. Collectively, the states, including Lagos, Abia, Ogun, Enugu, Osun, Delta, Sokoto, Edo, Bayelsa, and Gombe, presented budgets totaling 14.174 trillion naira to lawmakers. An analysis of the budget by the Punch newspaper actually showed that these states are increasingly turning to non-recurring financing beyond statutory federal transfers, including allocations from the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee, value-added tax receipts, and internally generated revenue to support ambitious infrastructure and development projects. And economists say that Nigeria's growing reliance on borrowing is not mainly because the country lacks revenue, but because public funds are poorly managed. And according to economists, they argue that budgets which should strictly guide government spending are often ignored, while weak oversight and revenue leakages force governments to rely on loans. Now, this is again another. We always have the federal government, borrowing year in, year out to finance the budget. But even state governments, are now almost all the time doing the same thing. This is despite the fact that government now, has, as you would always say, they have money at their disposal. Why do we still have to, or why do state governments still have to borrow that much, despite the fact that they have money coming in from the federation accounts? They still have, internally generated revenue for some of the states.
Tolu, there is nothing wrong. I want to establish the fact that there is nothing wrong in borrowing. You understand? But there's everything wrong in borrowing for consumption. In borrowing when there is no blueprint for what you are going to use the money for. There is everything wrong in borrowing to fund your appetite. There is everything wrong in borrowing to the people. That when your tenure elapses, you go away. And that is the bane of our society. Tolu, there is no society that will prosper where there is no accountability for the people, where leaders do whatever they like. Human beings are wired not to obey rules. That's the way we are reckless, especially when we know that you don't have to retire the money. You don't have to give account to anybody. You behave, you spend like a drunken sailor. What we are witnessing in Nigeria is because of the system we are running. If we are running a system where the people matter, where the power belongs to the people truly, where the people are the custodians of the country, our leaders will not borrow recklessly. And when they borrow, they will give account of what they have borrowed. We have heard from this Lagos State Governor, Sanwo-Olu, that what the governors are collecting right now are 3 times higher. We have heard it also from Wike. Why are they still borrowing if you are getting more money than you have been getting before? Mismanagement, lack of transparency, lack of accountability. Look at what some governors are spending the money on. You begin to ask yourself, what is wrong with us? Who put this cost on us? I will give you a few examples. Within the year, governor of Katsina State, Rada Diko, used over 600 million to go and renovate cemetery. what is the implication of cemetery on the people of Katsina State, where we have millions of children that are suffering from malnutrition? Go and Google it. What is the you didn't care for the living, but you are spending money on the dead. Mismanagement. What is the business of the governors spending money on people going on pilgrimage to Mecca and to Jerusalem? What will it will it bring to the people? Nothing. What is the, if I can go on and on and on and on, and governors that are renovating government houses where they are not even living in. Money, billions, millions spent on these things. And we are talking of ambitious projects. Take a look at all the roads in Nigeria. All the accidents that are happening as a result of what? Bad roads. Are they not the critical infrastructure they are borrowing money for? It is because there is no accountability. If there's accountability, somebody gives you money, you will know that this money, you will return it. If there is accountability in our country, and that's why when I talk of electoral as reforms, it's not just going to election. We are going to factor this thing inside all our electoral reforms if we want this country to go forward. That if you are a governor and you are trusted with people's money, you must give the people account of how you spend their money. If you borrow, are you borrowing in the name of your family? Is there any governor that is borrowing in the name of his own family? They are borrowing in the name of the citizens of that state. And when they go at the expiration of their tenure, who pays the people? They are shifting the burden of their recklessness and the lack of financial as management on the people. At the end of the day, the states are sinking deeper and deeper. We'll be hearing it. Oh, he didn't leave. He emptied the coffers of the state. Imagine a country, a governor living empty the coffers of the state. We have had it in Nigeria here that some of them even sold off government properties at a ridiculous because there's no continuity, and government is about continuity. That's why we waste a lot of resources in Nigeria. I pity those who even borrow us money. Anyway, they know what they are doing because they too are making business. They know that we are not responsible. They know. The people that are giving Nigerians money, they know we are not responsible. And that this money, we are going to pay, we keep on paying interest. How much are we spending on it? Do you know that 27% of the budget of this year, 27 will go on debt servicing? For what? So we begin to, they know. And let me even tell you, Tolu, before we round off on this. Modern slaves are no longer in chains. They are in debt. Yes, if you think that white people will come here and put chain on your neck as they did to our forefathers, they will not. You're already in debt to them. So you are in chain also, physically. Not physical in terms of monetary aspect. So that is why governors will keep on telling you that they are borrowing more. And look, even the financial institutions that are giving them this money, you think they are wired for you to prosper. No, they know you will come. It's like putting a banana on top of a tree and the monkey will be looking at it all the time. It will come. Until we curb the appetite for what we don't need, until we hold our leaders accountable, until there's the electoral reform where Nigerians will actually, that's why Nigerians are disenfranchised. It's a pity I'm saying this. Nigerians may have the PVC, but they don't have the power to elect because that power has been taken away from them systematically and deliberately so that these people will continue running around as leaders while they're not leading anybody. And they're leading us in, you promise prosperity and you're delivering poverty. Is that leadership?
All right. This is still Perspectives Unlimited right here on Wales Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio. And we're live on Facebook at Wales Radio 893 FM fan page, at Wales Radio 893 FM fan page. We're live on Facebook, and you can also join the conversation by calling the phone lines 0916 893 1000. 0915 333 4893 or 0911 333 893 0911 333 893. Put a call through to the studio and of course let us know your perspectives this morning. All right, let us move on to the Punch newspaper again. Where it seems like the work that the military and other security agencies are putting into ensuring that Nigeria's security becomes better is beginning to pay off. As in the Punch newspaper, military arrests suicide bomber recovers 189 AK-47 rifles. And troops of the Operation Hadinkai have recovered a major security success in Borno State, arresting a suspected suicide bomber and intercepting materials intended for the manufacture of improvised explosive devices. The suspect, identified as Abubakar Mustafa, was apprehended on Monday by personnel of the 152 Task Force Battalion in collaboration with other security agencies at Banki Town in Bama local government area. The media information officer of the Joint Task Force Northeast, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, disclosed that Mustafa was found in possession of primed IED components, indicating an imminent intent to carry out an attack. And in another related development, troops deployed at the Cameroon-Nigerian border also intercepted a vehicle carrying 6 bags of urea fertilizer, which is a critical precursor for IED production. And further intelligence operations led to the arrest of the fertilizer dealer and the recovery of an additional 6 bags, bringing the total seizure to 12 bags. Now, again, in the northwest, another that's under Operation Fasanyama, the 8th Division Sector 2 disclosed that troops have recovered 189 AK-47 rifles, thousands of rounds of ammunition, and other criminal assets, while rescuing 1,023 kidnapped victims across operations in Sokoto, Katsina, Kebbi, and Zamfara State. Now, in addition to this, here in the southwest, the Amotekun Corps actually nabbed 39 suspected terrorists fleeing Sokoto after the airstrikes that occurred, the United States airstrikes. So the commander of the Amotekun Corps in Ondo State, Adetunji Adeleye, disclosed this just yesterday in Akure while it was parading a total of 61 suspects that were apprehended across various parts of the state. They said that while investigating during interrogation, 39 suspects claimed that they escaped Sokoto State and moved towards the southwest in the aftermath of the airstrikes. And he said the suspects are aged between 18 to 45. But, just feel over the weekend, the NSA, that is the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, actually, through the federal government, of course, graduated 7,000 newly recruited forest guards who were drawn from 7 frontline states for immediate employment. The states are Borno, Sokoto, Yobe, Adamawa, Niger, Kwara, and Kebbi states, after intensive training for 3 months. So should we also be expecting that these people would be doing the same thing that Amotekun has been doing, especially in Ondo State?
Okay, we thank God for intervention of God in our security affairs through Trump. If Trump had not come to town, do you think these things we are reading right now will happen? All these monarchs that are now silent will be talking from both sides of the mouth. But we are not hearing them again talking. We are now recording. I know that many more are still going to come. But we thank God that something is happening. And Tolu, I am still worried about the so-called forest guards that Nuhu Ribadu recruited. Nigerians, we are in a country where we need to ask questions because our trust has been violated many years ago. Remember under Buhari, Miyetti Allah people came up that they want to float their own security operative across Nigeria to help indigenous people to fight banditry. Many people came up. Groups like Afenifere and Ohaneze, they came up and remember Buhari toyed with the idea of Ruga to spread these killer herdsmen across Nigeria. Nigerians rose up in unison and that idea died. Now, these forest guards that Nuhu Ribadu is floating or has floated, how were they recruited? How were they employed? Who are they? And where did they come from? We need to ask critical questions. We should not just, is it as a result, do we want to paint a picture to America that we are on top of the situation by creating this forest guard? What is their rule of engagement? Who are they? Because we have had in the past Mieti Allah coming up with something similar to this. So we have to really find out who are these people called forest guards. How were they trained? How were they recruited? What kind of ammunition do they have? What kind of training were they given? These are questions Nigerians must ask. Because to me, it is the local government that should recruit forest guards. Because you recruit from the area from your catchment area. You recruit people who know the area, who understand the terrain, who understand the culture and the people. The state governments, the state governors will be involved. Not something that should be done at the national level. No. If you do it at the national level, a lot of infiltrators will enter into the same forest guard and become another thing altogether. So if there is any need for forest guards, the state governors and local government chairmen are the people who will actually recruit people who will be in that vanguard or in that squad, forest guard. Because security is local. It's not something we have to take orders from the federal government to the state. So that is my worry. Who are these forest guards? Where are they coming from? How were they trained? What kind of training were they given? What kind of weapon are they carrying? What is the rule of engagement for forest guards? Before we begin to clap hands, because we are dealing with a situation where people are very clever. They can come up with all manner of things, and we think that we have solved the problem. Meanwhile, we are creating another one. So, forest guard, good. Who are they? How were they trained? Where is the profile? That's the question. Is it the federal government or the national security advisor that should recruit them, or is it the local government chairman and the governors who will recruit people who will man their forest? Because if I'm from Oyo State and you bring somebody from Borno to come and man my forest, what is he going to do? Does he know Igono? Does he know Isenyi? Does he know anywhere? Look at the people they arrested in Ondo State. To tell you there is movement, and people have to be careful. And I'm calling on Southwest governors. You know, they met in Lagos. Ashwebi, let it not end at Ashwebi. Take care of your people, because there must be a synergy among the governors of the Southwest. There's movement all over the place because of the heat Trump is giving these people. Now they have arrested 39 in Ondo State. Do you think they come for picnic, or you think they come for this for one day party? They came for something sinister, and they must be dealt with. I was reading that they said they will send them back to where? Let them face trial, find out something and put it on their neck and let them go and where are they coming here to do Alabeshe work? That is the thing. So the governors of the Southwest must wake up right now. They must wake up. This is not a time to play politics or to say, no, I belong to this. There's no need for camp. There is fire on the mountain, and we must fight it squarely if we are sincere about protecting our people. God bless Nigeria.
God bless Nigeria. 0916-893-1000, 0916-893-1000, or 0915-333-4893, 0915-333-4893. You can also call 0911-333-893, 0911-333-893. Drop your WhatsApp messages on 0915-4 999-893, 0915-4 999-893. And you can drop your comments on Facebook at Wells Radio 893 FM fan page, at Wells Radio 893 FM fan page. Drop your comments right there, and we'll be sure to take your comments this morning. All right, let's go back to the Punch newspaper. Federal government denies forming task force to hound opposition figures. The federal government has dismissed claims that it has raised a task force to arrest and prosecute opposition figures, describing the allegations as false and misleading. In a statement issued on Wednesday, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, denied the existence of any document or program authorizing the creation of a multi-agency task force to target political opponents under a purported scheme known as ADP for VIP, arrest, detain, prosecute for very important persons. That's the meaning of ADP for VIP. The minister said the alleged document falsely claimed that a task force comprising the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, and the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, coordinated by the Office of the National Security Advisor, had been set up to pursue prominent opposition figures without due process. And it also alleged a plan for the systematic weakening and neutralization of opposition political activity, particularly within the African Democratic Congress, African Democratic Congress, that's the ADC. Now, the minister urged politicians and citizens to refrain from false information, warning that misinformation and fake news could intensify as the 2027 general elections, draw near.
Okay, Tolu, I know you may be young when Abacha was on the throne, but I will take you back into history. When Abacha came on the scene, and he became there was a political party before he came, and all of them gathered to anoint him as the sole presidential candidate. Nobody again except Abacha. He became our messiah. He became number one person in Nigeria. All roads, led to Abacha. And guess what happened when Abacha was endorsed by almost all the political parties? The same thing that happened during that Abacha. Opposition was cannibalized. Many things started happening in Nigeria. Bombs were flying all over the place. And we know what happened. Look, democracy is about opposition. It's about having parties. It's about having groups of people who will always give you a good run for your money. People who will stand at the other side, you stand here. But the moment you begin to, that's why I say that consensus candidate has no place in democracy. Is a show of absolutism, and is non-democratic. Because when you are a consensus candidate, it means there is no other body but you. Nobody will challenge you within the party where you are, and you are likely going to do so many things to make sure that position you didn't leave it, which is not democratic. I will quote a Fulani proverb here. Fulani says that when you set fire on a savanna, don't sleep on a dry grass. You understand what I'm saying? So what we are witnessing, whether it is true or not, democracy we practice in Nigeria if that is what we are practicing. Because I still believe that we're in civilian regime, not democracy. Because if we have democracy, the people must have a say. The people must be duly and respectfully represented, and we must be dignified in taking decisions that affect our livelihood. So if we are still practicing democracy, there is room for opposition parties to thrive. Because these are the people that will see things the other way. You will see it the other way. And that is good for the society. Because without opposition, it becomes a totalitarian state where one man becomes the alpha and omega. And the human beings cannot be trusted. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. But when you know that there are people who will question some of your utterances and some of the things you do, you will sit up. That's the reason why democracy thrives where there is an engaging and viable opposition. But once you cannibalize opposition, forget about democracy. What we are going to witness is the rule of little men parading as gods and goddesses. So opposition is very, very important in every democratic setup. And I pray that no matter how small, no matter how feeble, opposition is needed. And any ruling party that has it at the back of his mind to muzzle the opposition has a sinister motive. If you don't have a sinister motive, you must let opposition to thrive so that they will check your excesses, They will put you on your toes. In case you are about to derail, they will bring you back. But whereby you don't want a dissenting, look, Tolu, dissenting voices are needed in every society. Dissenting voices. People who if you say that something is red, everybody agrees it is red. You don't have a dissenting, you are going to make a mistake. My people have a proverb that a king who says that nobody should advise him will dance in the market square with feces all over his clothes because nobody will tell him.
0916-893-1000, 0916-893-1000, or 0915-333-4893, 0915-333-4893. You can also call 0911 3333 893, 0911 3333 893. Those are the phone lines for you to call to be a part of the show this morning. You can drop your comments on Facebook at Wells Radio 893 FM fan page, at Wells Radio 893 FM fan page on Facebook. Drop your comments and we'll be sure to take your comments this morning. I'll go to Facebook shortly, but before then, let's go into the Daily Trust newspaper. 7 trillion naira NNPC debt waiver draws flag. Civil society organizations, lawmakers, and legal practitioners have faulted the federal government's approval of a massive debt waiver granted to the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, involving 7.6 trillion naira owed to the Federation account. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu approved the cancellation of a substantial portion of NNPCL's outstanding obligations to the Federation account following a reconciliation exercise between the company and relevant government agencies. The decision effectively wiped off about $1.42 billion and 5.57 trillion naira from the company's liabilities. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, West Radio.
Good morning, sir.
My name is George. I'm calling from Ologwe.
Welcome to the show, Mr. George.
I think last week I asked a question. Are we not trying to make another Idi Amin of the current administration we are having? Are we not trying to make the president to rule us like Idi Amin did in Uganda? Take, for example, this tax reform bill that everybody is querying how it was presented and signed into law. And they formed a commission to investigate it. The result has not been given to the masses. And they say it must start operating in January, which is about a week from now, or maybe a few days from now.
Tomorrow.
Is that how democracy works? Again,
your network is breaking, Mr. George. Hello? Okay, please do well to call us back, Mr. George. It's actually, it begins tomorrow. Tomorrow is the 1st of January. Yes, it begins tomorrow. Now, according to, this was, the details of the approval were contained in a document that was prepared by the NUPRC. And it was actually presented in November. So now I think I remember that when this whole issue about the money NNPC owes came out, you said something about let's see how it will go. That's if eventually we don't hear anything about it anymore.
We won't hear anything about it.
Now this huge amount has been waived. $1.421 billion and 5.57 trillion naira written off the debts that NNPCL owes the federal government. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, the beautiful little woman.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you. This is Gbenga Mari calling from Apache.
Welcome to the show, Mr. Gbenga.
Thank you. Well, my take this morning is going to be totally different. Totally different. And the reason is this. Me, personally, I want to thank God for giving us the thick skin to withstand all the reforms being brought by this present administration. And looking at the one we are still going to be battling with as from tomorrow. Like I was told yesterday, I think I missed out, that they said, Taiwo Idele, the guy that came about this tax issue was brought to a channel television yesterday. But so it's a pity that I didn't even watch it because I wasn't aware. The thing, and they said that it gave us some clarity about the issue, but I don't know how far he went about that. But no matter that aside, we want to thank God personally, then for all Nigerians that were able to skate through all this brought by this government. Recall the time they brought about the subsidy of a thing. Here are we today. Nigerians are still surviving, and the only thing I can always admonish Nigerians about is that we should not fear. We should not not any fear in our mind. That whatever comes, God will always sort us out. God will always sort our bills, and that is well with all Nigerians, and it's well with Nigeria. Happy New Year in advance. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much for the prayers, Mr. Gbenga Mario, this morning.
You see, Tolu, when it comes to, you said written off.
Yes.
That's the way we have been doing things. You see, if there is transparency and people will be called to question, how did you spend people's money? Do you think these things will go this way? You see, Tolu, when we are determined to build a country, we will know. There is a book I would like you to read. I may happy give it from third world to first world by the Lee Kuan Yew. When you read that book, you will understand what leadership is all about. You will understand that every kobo that belongs to a country must be accountable, must be accounted for. You must tell the people how this thing come about. Every decision you are taking must not be emotional decision. It must not be because you want to raise as is kings, surround people around you. You must make sure that every kobo spent, that people must understand why you spend it.
Hello.
Yeah, just calling back.
Welcome back, sir.
Yeah, NNPC or NNPCL, are they still owned by the government of Nigeria? They are not. And you are writing up a debt which can be construed to mean that somebody has embezzled that money. You say you write it off. Is this not the same pattern of APC? When you come to APC, all your sins are forgiven. Is this how we are going to run? So many people have stolen money. You just mention their name, and after that one, we don't hear anything again. And yet, they are going to borrow money outside, which we are going to ask the people to pay. Is that how to run democracy? We must not keep quiet, otherwise these people will put us into more problems. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your take.
So, if you look at NNPC, go and check who owns it right now. Like this man said, Tolu, there is nothing like transparency. You know, I keep telling people that a man, when a man is promising you clothes, when a man promises to give you clothes and is naked, he must be stupid to believe such a promise. You understand? What we lack in our country, especially in the oil sector, lack of transparency. There's no transparency in everything. Okay, let me even shock you. Oil producing areas like Bayelsa, to tell you how corrupt our system is. That's where we get all the money to run this country. You go and check how many local government areas they have. People who have nothing, people who don't have oil in their place, they have 44 local governments, 40 local governments, and the people who you get this oil from their place, they have few local governments. So, which means that the money you will give to them to develop their place will be smaller than the one you are giving to people who don't even have oil in their place. And yet, these are people that are suffering degradation of their environment. To tell you how crooked and lopsided and Nigeria is. But I know that one day, you know, Malami didn't know that he would be in Kuje prison. If a prophet had gone to tell Malami that one day you and your wife and your son will be here, he will arrest the person and say they should take him for psychiatric treatment. Where is Malami today? Let's continue. Life can happen to anybody. That is just my consolation. Don't ever say you have not gone to prison as far as there is government.
All right, on Facebook, thank you so much, Alaba Yusuf. Adedamola Okunola says, beautiful morning to you. The New Year gifts the federal government is pushing down the throats of Nigerians amidst hardship is heartbreaking. I hope this new tax law will not make life more difficult for the middle and lower class. Our government needs to work at making life easier for us and not the other way around. Happy New Year in advance. All right, Afolami says, Emeka, did the president have a board where the table for working programs are drawn for the people of the country? Despite all the income generated, we end up borrowing and now a new tax. No one goes back to the drawing board when it has none. No accountability, bad leadership. May 2026 give us all what we expect. All right, thank you so much for your take this morning. Thank you so much for coming on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me, Tolu. God bless Nigeria.
All right. Thank you so much to everyone who has been a part of the show this morning. Thank you so much, like I said before, for being a part of Perspectives Unlimited from the 1st of January up until now. I pray that God will give us the Nigeria that we all desire, and the year 2026 will favor every one of us. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today. My name is Toluwaleke Alli. As I would always say, wherever it is that you find yourself, always ensure that you put Nigeria out there in good light. God bless you. God bless Nigeria.
Please listen to this important information. The views expressed by the interviewee in this program are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Wells Radio 89.3 FM or its affiliated entities. Wells Radio 89.3 FM is committed to providing a platform for diverse perspectives and opinions, and the views expressed by guests on our programs are their personal viewpoints. Wells Radio 89.3 FM does not endorse or take responsibility for the content or opinions expressed by individual interviewees and callers. Thank you.